year ago today, Rico Brogna made his New York Met debut, and it was a tough one. Rico went 0 for 3 with 2 groundouts and a strikeout against the Braves' Greg Maddux. But since then, Rico has made his mark, hitting .306, 14 home runs, and 46 RBIs in his last 84 games. This past Saturday, Bill Pulsipher made his first Mets start with high expectations. But Bill had a rough outing, then settled down, but still lost a 7-3 decision. Tonight, Bill and the Mets won't be clowning around as they try to avoid a sweep against the Phils next on 9. From Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York, the Mets host the Philadelphia Phillies. Mets Baseball 95 is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By your local Honda dealer. By American Express. By Glidden, celebrating 120 years of making the world a colorful place. And by your Tri-State Quality Ford dealer. See your Ford dealers. See for yourself. Couple of left-handers tonight for the Phillies. Michael Mimbs, an excellent 5-1 record, and his second major league start. A left-hander, Bill Pulsipher, for the Mets. He's 0-1 on the year.
Welcome to Mets baseball. Tonight, the Mets against the Philadelphia Phillies in the final game of this homestand. I'm Ralph Kiner along with Tim McCarver, and last Saturday, the most important event of a ball player's life, his first time in the major leagues, took place, and that pitcher is pitching tonight.
Bill Pulsipher, the left-hander, and he hopes for a better fate than he had last Saturday. First of all, a little history on Bill. He's 6'2", 180 pounds, from Fairfax, Virginia. 14-9 last year at Binghamton. He was 6-4 when the Mets brought him up. But last week, he gave up 7 earned runs in 7 innings of work, 5 in the first inning, and really deserved a better fate in that first inning. As a matter of fact, they scored the Houston Astros, scoring 5 runs, but they could have been held to 1.
No doubt about that. On the mound for the Phillies, Michael Mimbs. He's 5-1 of the year. We'll be back for the start of the ball game after this word from Glidden Paint.
As we await the start of the Phillies and Mets game, and you folks may remember the movie with Sidney Poitier, To Sir with Love. Well, as far as Tim Bogar is concerned, it's To Sir with gloves. Which one are you going to use tonight, Timmy?
I'm breaking out the first baseman's glove tonight.
Your second start of the year. It's got to be difficult playing all of those positions, but I remember a remark you made to me about 2 weeks ago when you said the reason that I'm the third catcher is it's another way to stay in the big leagues.
Exactly. You know, I have to do whatever it takes to keep me here, and if I have to learn to catch, that's fine. If I have to learn to play center or left or right, that's fine with me too. Whatever it takes to keep me around, you know, as long as I can stay up here, that's what I want to do.
You told me also that you caught in high school a little bit, right?
Yeah, I caught back in high school a little Legion ball.
Where was that, Timmy?
That was in Buffalo Grove High School up in Arlington Heights by Chicago.
Uh-huh.
So it was exciting back then. You know, it's a little scary now.
These guys up here throw a little harder, right?
Yeah, the ball moves a little bit harder, and you know, you always got somebody looking at you.
What has been the most difficult thing about this swoon that the Mets are in right now, from your standpoint and from the team's standpoint?
Well, the hardest thing is to keep yourself up and to make sure everybody's not doubting themselves. You know, it's easy to walk around with your head down and to get in a bad routine. You know, to keep yourself at an even keel and keep everybody else at the same.
I would imagine you got to keep your sense of humor too, huh, Tim?
Oh, definitely. You know, without a sense of humor, this game can get really ugly.
Well, I hope things turn around for you. Good luck to you, and we'll be right back for the start of tonight's game right after this from Bell Atlantic.
Thanks, Tim.
It's being presented by Bobby Wine of the New York Mets and Jim Fregosi, who at one time was a New York Mets player, as we get set for the final game of this homestand and the final game of the 4-game series with the Philadelphia Phillies. Bill Pulsipher will be the pitcher for the New York Mets. Bill making his debut in the major leagues last Saturday against Houston and coming up as a losing pitcher.
Bill used to get his hair cut before every home game, but he solved that hair-suited problem by having his head shaved a couple of weeks ago, but it looks like he's going to have to start getting it cut before every home game again. It's getting long.
Very long. And on the way out to the mound, he usually makes footprints. There's one and the other, and he will step on those footprints every time he goes out to the mound and every time he comes in from the mound.
The one thing you don't want to step in those footprints going off the mound when you've been taken out during an inning.
That's bad luck.
That's bad luck.
So Pulsipher on the mound for the New York Mets. He's 0-1 in his outing on Saturday. In the first inning, he threw 44 pitches and gave up 5 runs. He could have gotten out of that inning much easier, but for a misplayed ball in center field, and it did not do him well as he went 7 innings, giving up 9 hits in that first outing, and he walked 6.
The lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies, who have won 3 in a row against the Mets and the last 5 meetings against the Mets. Dave Gallagher, the ex-Met, starting off and playing center field. Second baseman Mariano Duncan will hit second, and Tom Marsh, who had 2 homers last night, hitting third. Charlie Hayes has played every inning of every game. He'll bat 4th. Gene Shaw, the first baseman, hitting 5th. Lenny Webster behind the plate batting 6th. Jim Eisenreich, the right fielder, what a player he is. He'll bat 7th. Kevin Stocker, the shortstop, hitting 8th. And Michael Mimbs batting 9th.
And the defense for the New York Mets, it'll be Bobby Bonilla in left field, Ryan Thompson playing center field, and Chris Jones will be the right fielder. Ed Alfonso will be at third base. Jose Vizcaíno will be the shortstop. Jeff Kent at second base, and Tim Bogar making his second start at first base. He played there yesterday, and it'll be Kelly Stinnett behind the plate. The umpires for this game: Greg Bonet behind the plate, Ed Montague the umpire at first, John McSherry the umpire at second base, and Charlie Williams the umpire at third. John McSherry in his 25th season in the major leagues. Jim Fregosi, a third baseman for the New York Mets at one point, and now the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. He managed the California Angels, the Chicago White Sox, and now the Philadelphia Phillies. He's got his team in first place. Dallas Green sees the Mets in 4th place in the National League East. So Dave Gallagher, who played for the Mets 2 years ago, will lead it off. He's having a good year, filling in for the Philadelphia Phillies, hitting at .349, 1 home run, 9 runs batted in, and the first pitch, a fastball for a called strike. Gallagher 4 for 5 in this series, a pinch hitter with a base hit, and then last night 3 for 4. Pulsipher back with a fastball. It's hit foul off to the right side, and Pulsipher out in front with a 2-strike count.
2 impressive fastballs right there. I mean, he got both of those pitches up there in angry fashion.
In the first game for the Mets, he naturally would be nervous, and said he was. He was behind the hitters throughout that ball game. Something you can't do in the major leagues. At Norfolk, he was 6-4, being brought up from there. Leading the league in strikeouts was 63, and there's strike 3 calls. So Pulsipher, 3 fastballs, 3 strikes, and you're out.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, huh, Ralph? Well, this is nasty right here to Dave Gallagher, right on the corner, punched out by Greg Bonet, home plate umpire.
So 1 away, and Mariano Duncan will be the batter. Duncan hitting .264, 2 home runs, 11 runs batted in. In this series, Duncan 3 for 15. He played at first base in the first 2 games of this series. He's at second base in this one. And the first pitch, ball 1.
How about his numbers against left-handers this year? Here's a guy who led the National League batting against left-handers back in 1990 when he hit .410 against left-handers.
And he hits this one up the middle. He was hitting .211 against left-hand pitching coming into that at bat. So Duncan greets Pulsipher with a base hit to center field, a runner on with 1 out, and that'll bring up Tom Marsh, the hitting hero for the Philadelphia Phillies in this series. Brought up from Scranton Wilkes-Barre, he's hitting .350 in the series. He's 5 for 12 with 2 home runs, and he has driven in 5. As a matter of fact, in yesterday's ball game, he became the first Philly to have 2 home runs in 1 game this year.
Like Tom had a mustache last night. He may have shaved it off. Is that what you do when you hit 2 homers?
Oh, I wouldn't change a thing. Wear the same underwear.
I might have to wear the same everything.
Man, I wouldn't change anything. That'd be the same underwear as long as it worked.
Might lose you some friends.
Yeah, you lose a lot of friends. Nobody sits near you, but it's worth it. 1 ball, no strikes to Tom Marsh, and this one up the middle. Good play for Kent. He steps and he doesn't make the play. In last night's ball game, Kent turned a double play and a tougher play than that against Darren Dalton. This one sort of routine for the force play, but he doesn't make it, and that will go as an error. And the Mets having a tough time defensively this year.
Boy, I'll say, Mets around the bottom of the National League defensively. And this ball is not hit hard enough to get 2. Watch Kent. He tries to step on the bag and catch the ball at the same time. When you try to do too many things, often something like that happens. Ball hit that slowly. Make sure you get 1.
Mets 33rd error of the year. Make that 47th error of the year. And the first pitch to Charlie Hayes, taken for ball 1. Kent with 7 errors.
Leads all National League second basemen in errors with 7.
So runners at first and second with 1 out. Charlie Hayes, who leads the club in runs batted in, takes low for ball 2. Hayes with 37 runs batted in has hit 5 home runs, hitting .296 in the year. He's 3 for 11 in this series, and last night he took an offer, and that stopped the 9-game hitting streak. He has played in every inning so far for the Philadelphia Phillies. 2-0 the count. And this one up the middle, it'll go through for a base hit. Duncan comes in to score. Marsh goes to third base, and the Phillies have taken the lead 1-0 as Hayes gets his 38th run batted in.
No, you give an offensive team like the Phillies a little opening, give them 4 outs in an inning, and they'll pounce on it. Charlie Hayes leads the Phillies in RBIs with those 38.
So the Phillies have drawn first blood as they have scored here in the first, and another tough first inning for Pulsipher. Bill in his first outing gave up 5 runs, but not helped at all by the defense of the Mets. And the first pitch to Gene Shaw is taken for a strike. In that first inning, he worked in the major leagues. 2 plays should have been made behind him that would have got him out of the inning with only 2 runs. Shaw 2 for 3 in the major leagues this year, and he takes a strike, and that's strike 2. At Scranton Wilkes-Barre, he hit .296 with 6 home runs, 24 runs batted in 47 games. So Pulsipher working with runners at first and third. The Mets had double played them. And the fastball for ball 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, I mean, Bill Pulsipher's throwing some gas out there tonight. I don't care about the results right now. This young man throws like this throughout his first 10 years in the big leagues. He'll be successful. Looks like he is just airing it out. He wasn't, first start, very nervous in the first inning, walked a few guys. He does not appear to be nervous right now. I mean, he is blowing.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And this ball popped up into shallow center field, tagged up at third base is Marsh. Thompson makes the catch. Marsh is not going to try as he stops after breaking from third. And the ball thrown nicely by Thompson. It was cut off as Bogar makes a cutoff, and the runners have to hold at first and third.
Fine throw by Thompson. Watch how he readies himself. He's in position to make the throw and hits the cutoff man. That way preventing Charlie Hayes from going to second base.
So 2 men away, a run in, and the batter will be Lenny Webster. Webster at .219, no home runs, 2 runs batted in. Webster last year with Montreal hit .273 in 57 ball games, and he gets a breaking ball that's called a strike. Webster signed by the Phillies as a free agent in April.
With a left-handed pitcher pitching, the Phillies like to send that runner at first base and try to pick up a cheap run. If this pitch is a strike to Webster, Mets may look for a play like that. I remember the night Glenn Wilson was on at first base, Mike Schmidt at third, about 5 years ago. Well, it had to be longer than that. It had to be about 8 years ago, because Schmidt's going to the Hall of Fame this year.
1 ball, 1 strike. Webster grounds it foul.
On that play, Wilson broke from first base. He slipped down. Sid Fernandez was the left-handed pitcher, and when Fernandez threw to first, Mike Schmidt walked home. Boa is very clever as a third base coach, moving the runner up at third base. And if Pulsipher throws over there, you got to watch Marsh at third. He could walk home.
Falling down at first base is a design play.
Right.
As that pitch is inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. You think you got the runner at first, and they get a run.
Well, matter of fact, Kevin Stocker stole home this year against the Houston Astros on a play where he was halfway up the line. The left-handed pitcher didn't see him. He threw to first, and Stocker stole home.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and a high pop up to left field. But he had plenty of time to get to it. And he puts it away, and that retires his side. So 1 run, it was unearned. And the score at the end of 1/2 inning, the Phillies won. The Mets coming up, and here's a word from Bex. For the Philadelphia Phillies, a record of 5-1. He's 1-0 against the Mets this year. An earned run average of 3.21, his 10th game start. He's had 1 complete game. Walked 27, struck out 35, and 53 in the 3rd innings. The opposition hitting .214 against him.
Mets lineup is brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford dealer. And here it is. Ryan Thompson, the center fielder, leading it off, followed by third baseman Edgardo Alfonso. Chris Jones in right field this evening. He'll bat third. Bobby Bonilla batting fourth. Jeff Kent, the second baseman, will hit fifth. Kelly Stinnett behind the plate batting sixth. Tim Bogar's second straight start at first base batting seventh. Shortstop Jose Vizcaíno hitting eighth tonight, and Bill Pulsipher batting ninth.
And the defense for the Phillies, it's Marsh, Gallagher, and Eisenreich in the outfield, left to right. In the infield, Hayes, Stocker, Duncan, and Shaw at the first base position. And the catcher in this ball game is Lenny Webster. And for the Mets, it'll be Ryan Thompson to lead it off. In the series, 3 for 10, hitting .319 on the year. And he hits a base hit on the first pitch of the game by Mimbs. And the Mets have the potential tying run on the first pitch of the game by the left-hander.
I have a staggering statistic on Ryan Thompson. 23 straight times, 17 before the Phillies came in here, he swung at the first or second pitch. 17 straight times. The Phillies, of course, had wind of that. And when a guy is that aggressive, you don't want to stay in the strike zone on that first or second pitch.
And now Vizcaíno, I should say Edgardo Alfonso, squares the butt and takes ball 1.
Can you imagine that, though? 23 straight times swinging at the first or second pitch. We don't keep up with things like that, but that is an extraordinary amount of consecutive time swinging at the first ball.
That's got to be a lack of confidence.
You don't want to go to 2 strikes.
That's right. You want to get it over with.
You can't be you can't be a defensive hitter. The Mets have a lot of guys who find a very difficult time being patient with 2 strikes. That's why they swing at a lot of bad balls.
That is very true. A lack of confidence and not wanting to be in the position of having 2 strikes on your line drive. It's caught in the air, and Charlie Hayes turns it into a double play as Thompson was running with the pitch and the hit and run. So the hit and run backfires, and 2 men away.
Nothing you can do about this. when it rains, it pours, and it has poured on the Mets during this series. That ball was scorched, low liner to Charlie Hayes at third base. He caught it in the air and throws to Shaw for the double play. Nothing you can do about that.
That's just the way it goes.
That's right.
That's the luck of the game.
Yep.
And for the Mets, it's been Murphy's Law all through this year.
Man.
That'll bring up Chris Jones, hitting .340, 0 for 2 in the series, and he takes low for ball 1. Jones with 3 home runs, 2 of them as a pinch hitter, and he has driven in 6. And the change up there swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Phillies have been in first place since May 7th, and they have the best record against Eastern teams in the Eastern Division, 15-4. And another wild swing, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the Phillies on the road have the best record in baseball. They are 19-8. Have the best record in the National League, playing .667 baseball. 34 wins, 17 losses, and everything going right for Philadelphia in 1995 as it did in 1993. A swing and a miss, and Jones goes down on 3 fastballs. 1 hit, no one left to score. At the end of 1, the Phillies won, the Mets nothing. And here's a word from Coke Classic coming to the mound for the 2nd time. There he is walking toward the mound, and again he steps in those footprints. Right into those footprints. He put them there earlier.
Kind of like when Alan Shepard would go back to the moon, right? It'd be the same thing. Step in the same footprints? No? Couldn't find them. I
don't know. Jim Eisenreich, the batter, takes the first pitch for strike 1. And now Pulsipher outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Eisenreich hitting .346, 3 for 10 in this series, 3 home runs, 20 runs batted in. And he fouls off the fastball. Eisenreich, as Tim pointed out earlier, an outstanding ball player. He is unnoticed by just about everybody, but he just continues to pour it on day after day after day. He overcame Tourette's syndrome, was out of baseball because of that affliction, and now back and doing a great job with the Philadelphia Phillies. He takes high, 2-2. Eisenreich, .288 average after 1 game over 1,000. And he fouls off another.
Ignorance can lead to cruel things, and you remember 10 years ago, or you may remember when Jim was a member of the Minnesota Twins, and everybody was saying the guy didn't want to play, and he's just getting nervous in front of crowds, and what's wrong with him? Found out that he had a very serious malady, and he has been helped. His Tourette's syndrome is in remission now. Jim is doing fine, but what a wonderful story he is, and a story of bravery and courage. Nothing of the things that were being said about him in his early years.
Fly ball to left field. Bonilla coming up. He'll have to hurry. He can't get to it. Plays it out. Doesn't play it on the hop. Eisenreich will go to second, and another error charged to the New York Mets. So Bonilla
I don't know. Man, what's going on?
Not even looking at that ball, as he thought he had it on that bounce, and it never was captured.
Now this is embarrassing right here. It's an error on Bobby Bonilla. This ball dropping near the line, and this is real speed. Bonilla looking up there and looking at Eisenreich. All you have to do is get to the ball as fast as you can, catch it, and throw it as quickly as you can. I have no idea what Bobby was doing. They're looking right there. When you look up, you got to have the ball first. You catch the ball and throw it.
There's no reason to look. You just
catch the ball and throw it.
Get rid of it and get it into the infield as fast as you can, as Kevin Stocker takes a strike. Stocker hitting .209 for the year. No home runs, 17 runs batted in, 4 for 11 in this series. He has worn the Mets out this year, hitting .364 with 8 hits and 22 at bats, and 6 runs batted in. That's a period of 6 games, and he takes the strike there. It's strike 2. His career average against the Mets, .299. Stocker, a good defensive shortstop, but hitting just .209. Stocker batting 8th in the batting order as Pulsipher tries to get him out without the runner advancing, and he misses high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. First run scored by the Phillies in the first inning unearned. An error by Kent. And the error by Phenia, putting a runner in scoring position with no one out here in the second. Final in Cincinnati, the Reds beat the Braves 9-8. 7 home runs in the game. Reds coming from behind, 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th. It all started for the Reds when they came from 7 runs back in the Mets and started that tremendous surge to first place. They lead by 5.5 over Houston. Fly ball foul. It's into the stands, out of play.
That was back on May the 6th. The Mets had an 11-4 lead going to the 8th inning, and the Reds scoring 9 runs in the last 2 innings to win 13-11. Most runs the Mets have scored all year, and it was in a losing cause.
Reds were 1-8 at that time.
Yeah.
So they have won 31 games while losing 11 since that game that they came from behind to win against the Mets. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bill Pulsipher, his second game in the major leagues. And this one grounded foul. Good hard pitch there in a good spot. All Stocker could do was foul it off. When Stocker came to the Phillies, he had a reputation for being a good hitter and not a good fielder. It's sort of turned around for him. Off the handle, right over the bag. Great play by Alfonso. The throw in time for the out, and that was a bullet fired over there by Alfonso. And that ball, a tough play because it almost hit the bag.
Well, that's a big-time play right there. And you're exactly right, Ralph. That made it that much more difficult because it almost hit the bag. I mean, a gun, and he got Stocker by 2 feet.
Also holding the runner.
2 poor defensive plays in this game so far, but that one was a dandy right there.
Bogar at first base for the Mets, and Michael Mimbs will be the batter. He's 1 for 17. Hits it hard to first, and Bogar, an outstanding play, tosses to Pulsipher, and they pick up the out at first base. And on the play, Eisenreich goes over to third. That was well done also.
Well, it's 2-2 now if you're scoring as far as errors and good plays. 2 errors and now 2 fine plays, one by Alfonso, the other by Tim Bogar.
So a runner at third base with 2 men out, and Dave Gallagher will bat for the second time. Eisenreich, the runner at third base. Gallagher struck out on 3 pitches his first time up, all of them fastballs. This time he gets a curve. It's ball 1. Phillies with the best fielding percentage in the National League. That's a ball for ball 2, 2-0.
That's a big thing this year for the Philadelphia Phillies. They catch the ball. Charlie Hayes, the third baseman, has made only 3 errors all year, and they were made in 1 game. So think about that. 1 game, 3 errors. He's played every inning of every game.
And the breaking ball high, 3 balls, no strikes.
That has been the biggest difference in the Phillies this year, is that man right there. And the Phillies that finished 20.5 out of first place last year behind the Montreal Expos.
Hayes traded by the Phillies to the Yankees, then went to Colorado. This ball gets away and it will allow a run. So again, the Mets defense just falling apart. That was ball 4, so the runner goes to first base on the walk, but the run comes in on what looked like a pass ball.
Yeah, I think the ball sailed on Kelly Stinnett, and he tried to catch it instead of turning the glove over. That ball sailing on him, and Eisenreich sails home, and the Mets with some horrible defense. I mean, horrible. We're only in the second inning. Error by Kent, error by Bonilla, now pass ball on Stinnett.
And the batter stepping in is Mariano Duncan. He takes the first pitch for strike one. Duncan singled up the middle his first time up, and he scored the first run of the ball game. That run unearned in the first. And the pitch way away, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Phillies are not a team that steals a lot of bases. They've had only 25. That's 12th in the National League. The Mets are last in stolen bases with 19.
Yeah, but let's not confuse stolen bases with base running, because base running is probably more important than stolen bases unless you have a guy like Ricky Henderson or Lou Brock or Maury Wills. Phillies are an extraordinary team, going from first to third and running the bases the way they should be run. Maximizing their speed. They really do well at that.
There's no stat for going first to third on base hits, but that is one of the most important plays in the game. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and the pitch. Fly ball to right field. Chris Jones right there, and he makes the play that retires the side. So another unearned run, and the Phillies, after 1.5 innings, leading by a score of 2-0. Here's a word from nobody beats the Wiz. Phillies as the Mets come up in the bottom of the second. And the first pitch by Michael Mimbs to Bobby Bonilla, ball 1. Bobby 1 for 12 in this series, now at 308 for the year. 9 home runs, 28 runs batted in, and that's ball 2. Bonilla in this homestand hitting .237 with 9 base hits, no home runs, and 1 run batted in. Coming up in that ball is Duncan. He makes the play near the bag and gets the out. So 1 away, and that'll bring up Jeff Kent. Well, there's a break in the action. Ought to be a great time to break for the great taste of Bud Light. It's a big hit with fans everywhere because it won't fill you up and never let you down. So make it a Bud Light. Michael Mimbs, he's 4-0 over his last 7 game starts. His streak started on May 21st against the Mets when he was a winning pitcher against Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones hasn't won a game since. His overall record, 5 wins and 1 loss, and the first pitch to Kent, ball 1. Kent in this homestand, a good homestand, 389 with 14 hits, 1 of them a home run, and he's driven in 6. He takes that fastball. 2 balls, no strikes.
Interesting to compare Michael Mimbs to Bill Pulsipher. Pulsipher is a thrower. Mimbs is a slinger. He slings the ball. Looks like the upper half of his body, when he brings his arm on top of that fastball that he keeps away from right-handers, it's like the top half of his body is coming with it.
And he slung that one up there, and it's a called strike.
It's very difficult throwing like that to come inside to right-handed batters. He's got 1 lane with this delivery. You see that head back right there. He throws a little bit like Johnny Padres used to throw, as a matter of fact.
This ball hit the deep right field. It's way back. It's going. It is gone. Goodbye. Jeff Kent with a home run, and the Mets get 1 back.
Things happen when you can hit on 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, and 3-1 counts. And the one good thing is you can really choose a pitch and drive it. Kent got a fastball out over the plate and drives it deep over the head of Eisenreich, and the Mets are on the board. what happens when you fall behind as a pitcher or get ahead as a hitter.
So Mimbs watches it go. That's the 4th home run he has given up, and 2 of those 4 home runs have been hit by Jeff Kent. And Kent putting the Mets on the scoreboard. It's now the Phillies 2 and the Mets 1. And Kent's 8th home run of the year and his 22nd run batted in. Up the middle, it'll go through for a base hit. So Kelly Stinnett follows the home run with a single up the middle, and the Mets have the potential time run at first base with 1 man out.
And what was the count? 2-0. 3-1 to Kent, 2-0 to Stinnett, and that, as much as anything, is what the young hitters of the Mets, or the older hitters of the Mets, have to learn, is situational hitting and how to get a pitcher into a position where he's throwing behind in the count, and you can't do that when you swing at the first and second pitch on a consistent basis.
Now the batter, Tim Bogart, he takes ball 1. You got a shot at Johnny Padres, who wasn't behind in the count very often in his career. Outstanding pitcher for the Dodgers. For those of you who remember 1955, he won the 7th game of the World Series against the Yankees 2-0. Chopper to third. Can't get the double play. They have to go to first. They get the out. And Bogart becomes the second out of the inning. On the play, Stinnett goes on down to second. That'll bring up Jose Vizcaíno.
They have had a celebration of sorts in Brooklyn this week, as a matter of fact. A lot of the old Brooklyn Dodgers have been there. Johnny attended that function on Monday. He was some competitor, that guy. Pitched the first game also at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles in 1961. Or 62, I guess, was the first year,
1962. Right? Dodger Stadium, no, it wasn't 62. He played in the Coliseum in 62.
No, I think 62 was the first year.
Okay.
60 and 61. 59, 60, 61.
You're right.
I believe.
The Mets played in, they never played in the Coliseum. That's right. 1 ball, no strikes to Vizcaíno, and he takes there for a strike, 1-1. Vizcaíno 3 for 11 in this series, hitting .258. 1 home run, 20 runs batted in. Jose with 1 extra base hit in his last 108 at bats. And it's in the dirt. Good play on it by Lenny Webster. 2 balls, 1 strike. Phillies with 2 unearned runs, leading by a score of 2-1. The Mets run coming here in this inning on Kent's home run is 8th of the year. And a ball call for ball 3 to, no, it was called a strike. Pardon me. 2-2. Vizcaíno didn't like that call at all.
Yeah, Jose agreed with you.
At least 2 of us thought it was a ball.
It was a late call by Greg Bonet. That pitch is down.
And up the middle, a base hit. They'll have to hurry to get the runner in. Stinnett coming around third. The throw to the plate is not in time, and it's offline. And the Mets have tied it up. And Jose Vizcaíno with a 2-out base hit. And it also came in front of the pitcher.
Well, there's really not a lot of, that you can do. If you're trying to pitch around the hitter, and I guess that's your point, Ralph, if you're trying to pitch around the hitter and you make a pitch like that and he hits it off the end of the bat, there's nothing you can do about that. Ball that you can do something about is a ball right down the middle. But when you're trying to pitch around the hitter like that, you make a good pitch, he hits it off the end of the bat, there's nothing you can do.
Tip your cap and go to the next batter, and that's Bill Pulsipher, and he hits it hard to short. A good play by Stocker. He goes to first base in time for the out. But the Mets get 2 to tie it. They had 3 hits. They leave 1 in the score. At the end of 2, it's the Mets 2 and the Phillies 2, and here's a word from Bud Light.
2-2 ball game, top of the third. Ralph, it's interesting when you look at the National League Eastern standings. The Philadelphia Phillies have won 4 in a row. They have the best record in the National League, but they are second to the Cleveland Indians. Cleveland Indians with the best record in baseball. And last night, after only the 50-game mark, They have the highest home run total after 50 games in American League history. Hard to believe. What mashers they have. After 50 games, the most home runs, 1956. That was the year that the whole team was voted to the All-Star game, as a matter of fact. Then the 1995 Indians. Jim Tomei, boy, what a year he's having. Manny Ramirez. Then you've got Eddie Murray. Carlos Baerga's leading the American League in hits. And the only guy who's leading the American League in all-star voting is a guy who hadn't played a lot, Sandy Alomar Jr.
Isn't that amazing?
Unbelievable.
And also, the Cleveland Indians have drawn 1 million already this year, the earliest date in the history of the Cleveland franchise that a team has drawn 1 million people. And that swing and a miss by Marsh makes it strike 2. They reached that 1 million mark in their 27th date. In 1948, they reached the 1 million mark in, excuse me, their 28th date. And also in 1994, their 28th date. So the Cleveland Indians doing a job on the field and in the stadium with their fans. 1 million fans at their earliest date. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss. So Pulsipher picks up the strikeout. That is his 2nd strike in the ball game, and he will now work to Charlie Hayes.
Take a look at the American League Central, where the Cleveland Indians, as we said, the best record in baseball, 36-14, and the Kansas City Royals, a big surprise there. You remember they traded Brian McRae, they traded David Cohn, and yet they're 8 games over 500. Playing very, very good baseball.
7 games back of the Cleveland Indians.
Mike McFarland's no longer with them. He signed with the Red Sox. White Sox 17 games back. Woo.
White Sox and Yankees are really big disappointment stories. And the first pitch right there, ball 1. And the Yankees, of course, with their bad start, reaching into a situation that might prove to be very, very difficult. Darryl Strawberry, signed by the Yankees.
Nobody knows whether it's a good move or a bad move, but everybody knows one thing. It will be talked about.
It is talked about. As Charlie Hayes, who played for the Yankees, lines his 2nd hit. This one to left field and a runner on with 1 out. If Darryl Strawberry plays for the Yankees, and that's a foregone conclusion, he will be the first player to have played baseball for the Dodgers, the Giants, the Yankees, and the Mets.
Is that right? I didn't know that. That's good.
Of course, the Dodgers are no longer the Brooklyn Dodgers, and the Giants no longer the New York Giants. But that would make him the first player to play for teams that originated in the New York area. As Gene Schwall comes to the plate, Schwall flied out to center field his first time up. Now, if you want to carry that a little bit farther, Casey Stengel played for the Dodgers. He played for the Giants. He managed the Yankees, and he managed the Mets. So he had 4 different uniforms.
But he didn't play for all those teams.
No, he managed the Yankees, of course, and the Mets. Sort of like the old Gladys Gooding story. Who was the only player to have played for the Dodgers, the Knicks, and the Rangers? And it was Gladys Gooding who played the organ for those clubs. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Runner at first base, 1 out. We're in the top of the 3rd. A tie ball game at 2. Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies, after the Mets won the first game, have won 5 straight against the Mets, and they have won 5 of 6 against the Mets this year. And the fastball fouled away, 1-2.
Gene Shaw was called up on the 16th of June. 6 days ago, last week, when David Hollins went on the disabled list. Think about the Phillies that are on the disabled list. Lenny Dykstra, David Hollins, Greg Jeffries, Tommy Green, a pitcher, Bobby Munoz, a pitcher. 5 frontline players, and yet they still have the best record in the National League. Somebody's doing something right with that organization. Lee Thomas, the general manager, Jim Fregosi, the manager. And remember, this team is the defending National League champions.
That's right. No World Series last year and no playoffs. So they won it 2 years ago and lost in the last game of the series on the Joe Carter 3-run home run. There's a drive in the left field. It'll be extra bases. Bonilla will have to hurry to get it back in. And Hayes coming around to stop at third. Make that the 6th game of the series. And Mitch Williams, the pitcher who gave up that 3-run home run to Joe Carter. And Mitch Williams has retired from baseball after being released by the California Angels.
Well, Gene Shaw turns on this inside cut fastball, rifles it down the left field line. So Shaw, impressive. He's 3 for 5 since being called up, his 2nd start. There, watching turn on that inside fastball. That's the thing with the Phillies. I mean, hitting is contagious, and anybody they put in there seems to do the job.
That's probably why they're in first place, as they have been getting these key hits from players like Tom Marsh, brought up from the minors, Gene Shaw right there, Andy Van Slyke, who was 0 for 17 with the Baltimore Orioles in his last 17 at-bats, joined the Phillies, singled his first time up, and then had a 2-run home run his next time up. So things are falling in place. 1 ball, no strikes to Lenny Webster, and he hits it foul, so it goes 1-1. Let's have the infield in for a play at the plate with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Rather unusual for this early in the ball game.
With 2 on.
Right.
Well, the Mets haven't been scoring. I mean, Dallas Green is forced into situations that he would not normally employ. He's told us that on a number of occasions. When you don't have a lot of offensive punch, you have to do things you don't ordinarily do. And ordinarily, 2nd and 3rd, 1-out tie game in the 3rd, you wouldn't bring the infield in.
A little pop-up in the shallow center field, and it is going to be caught by the second baseman, Kent. And on that play, Ryan Thompson did not find the ball. He did not know where it was. He lost it in the twilight.
Fine play by Kent, because you're exactly right. Thompson came in saying immediately that he couldn't find the ball, and Jeff Kent makes the play. Watch Thompson, top of your picture, Kent in the middle of your picture now, and Thompson saying, I can't find it. So Kent took it himself. Nice play by Jeff. That holds the runners.
So now 2 men away, the runner's still at 2nd and 3rd, and Jim Eisenreich the batter, and Jim with a bloop base hit his first time up. Eisenreich, against left-hand pitching, dropped down in the batting order. He's hitting just .227 against left-handers. Overall hitting .350, and he hits it off the end of the bat. It's a foul ball for strike 1. The on-deck batter, Kevin Stocker, had to dive out of the way to keep from being hit by that ball. One strike to Kent. Bill Pulsipher on the mound for the Mets, and the breaking ball hangs inside. They count 1 ball and 1 strike. Tie ball game at 2. 2 men out, top of the 3rd inning. And the breaking ball, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Hayes, the runner at 3rd base. Schwal, the runner at 2nd. And this one fouled over near the Philly dugout, and again everybody's scrambling. So Eisenreich with some bad swings, really being fooled, but still in there with a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the curveball popped up. Vizcaino calls for it, and he makes the catch, and that retires the side. So Pulsipher pitches out of a tough jam. 1 out, runners at 2nd and 3rd. does not allow a run, 2 hits, and no one on the error side. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings, the Phillies 2, the Mets 2. And here's a word from Chrysler, who hit the first pitch for a base hit his first time up, swings at the first pitch out of the strike zone his next time up. So he's following the form sheet as he hits that line drive into center field. And Thompson 2 for 2 as he leads off here in the 3rd. Tie ball game at 2, and the batter coming up is Edgardo Alfonso.
Third baseman Edgardo Alfonso.
You call those types of hitters Bible hitters? Well, Ryan Thompson wrote the book.
Thou shall not pass.
Maybe there were 5 original guys instead of 4, huh?
Maybe so.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Ryan.
And Ryan. They left out Ryan somehow. Bible hitters, the old adage, thou shall not pass. Edgardo on a hit and run play, lined into a double play his first time up. He shows bunt, takes for ball 1. Mike Cubbage sending the signs in.
Dallas Green shouldn't be deterred using the hit and run again, because Alfonso hit the ball well the first time up. Just that low liner to 3rd.
And that's ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes.
If you're doing the right thing, you can't be disappointed with the results.
They might backfire some of the time or occasionally, but they work. That's why that hit and run play has been such a popular play dating back to 1800s. The Baltimore Orioles and the McGraw player who later became a manager for the Giants. Boy, he sprays them around, doesn't he? He is a wall-to-wall type hitter, going with the ball where it's pitched, and he has a wild swing at that one. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2-1 count, an ideal hit and run count. Negates the pitch out in this situation. And the pitcher generally trying to get the ball in the strike zone so he doesn't go to 3-1. And it's bunted down toward 3rd, but foul. And that puts it 2-2. That was not a sacrifice there. That was a bunt for a base hit.
I don't like that play because, you know, you have the hammer. It's a hitting situation, not a bunting situation. If you want to take a shot on the first or second pitch, that's fine. But with the count 2-0, 2-1, those are good hitting situations, and I think you shortchange yourself by bunting there.
I would have to guess that it was put on by Alfonso.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not going to put on a bunt for a base hit.
No.
That's never the third baseman's call.
This ball hit out to right field. Eisenreich, the right fielder, with an easy play. And Alfonso an easy out. So 1 away. Thompson is still at first, and Chris Jones a batter.
What some third base coaches can do is they can have a sign to the hitter telling him that the third baseman is continually playing back. That could be done, but no third base coach will ever put on a hit sign. Or a bunt sign
in a situation like that. No.
Right.
Jones struck out his first time up. He looks at a fastball that time for ball 1. Jones struck out on a fastball. Cubbage at third base, sending the signs out. Tie ball game at 2. Bottom half of the 3rd inning, 1 man out. Michael Mimbs pitching for the Phillies. This one chopped out over the mound. Might be a base hit. They'll take a good play to get him. And the play is made at first base. They throw to 3rd. And the double play is completed as Thompson tries to go to 1st to 3rd on the out. And it's turned into a double play. So that ends the inning. And the score at the end of 3. The Mets 2 and the Phillies 2. Now here's a word from your local Honda dealer. We're going to the top of the 4th on October 7th, 1969. And we'll tell you about that in a minute. This is the little chopper here. Good play by Stocker to get the out at first base. And now Thompson trying to go from first to third in the out, and Hayes makes a great play at third. And it's a double play to end the inning.
You know, he missed him the first time. We may have to take another look at that. He missed him the first time, and then by the time he got the glove back, it looked like Thompson's hand was on the bag. Watch the first right there. Now he misses him there, but the leg, I guess, slid into the glove. So I guess he got the inadvertent call. But see, now they're saying that it wasn't until the touch on the shoulder that Thompson was called out. It looked like Ryan had his hand in by then.
Hayes looked like he was riding a bull right there, a rodeo rider.
Curtis sitting on a lead, but never sitting on a base runner.
Oh, he had him really blocked off. And now coming in for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver. And we'll get back to that date again.
Kevin Stocker, 0 for 1. And he fouls it off. 0-1 to Stocker.
October 7th, 1969. A big day in baseball history. And Tim McCarver was involved in a trade that was the biggest trade the Phillies ever made. 8-player trade.
Outside, 1-1 to Stocker.
Tim McCarver going to the Philadelphia Phillies from the St. Louis Cardinals. Richie Allen going to the Cardinals from the Phillies. Other players in that trade. But the player in that trade was Curt Flood. And that's the big story.
Fly ball to center. Easy play for Thompson. 1 out here in the 4th.
Curt Flood refused to report to the Philadelphia Phillies. And that was the start of one of the most interesting things that's happened to baseball in the history of the game.
Curt Flood saying that after 12 years in St. Louis, he refused to go to the Phillies. He was tried, or the Phillies tried to woo him with a contract in excess of $100,000. The general manager of that team in those years, the curveball over, by the way, to pitcher Michael Mimbs, who grounded out his first time up. The general manager of the Phillies was John Quinn, and about a year and a half later, Curt Flood took that case all the way to the Supreme Court. And in a 5-3 decision, the Supreme Court voted against Flood and the players, but that ultimately led to the Peter Seitz decision 5 years later that freed Andy Messerschmidt and allowed all players to become free agents.
One of the biggest things that ever happened in baseball history. Gave the players all of the strength that their union needed.
This one hit down the right field line, and it's a fair ball. Chris Jones tracks it down, but Michael Mimbs has a double. Hit number 6 for the Phillies in this game, as Michael Mimbs helps himself. He hit the first ball hard, and then he comes back and spanks this one to right.
He had been 1 for 18, and he drills this one into right field for a 2-base hit. And the Philly pitchers have been doing a job on the New York Mets. In the first game, Tyler Green came up with 2 hits as the pitcher in the ball game, and Norm Charlton drove in his first run in his major league career in the first game of this series with his first hit of the year.
Center fielder Dave Gallagher takes a strike on the corner. Dave has not put a ball in play tonight. He's 0 for 1. He struck out and walked. 2-2 game here in the 4th. One and 1 now to Gallagher. See that 1-800 number? I think I would put 1 T in that. You need to get the point across. That'd be 7 letters or 7 numbers. Ground ball to the right side. Alfonso throws out Gallagher. 2 out here in the 4th. I mean, to me, I think that could be better marketed, don't you, Ralph? M-A-T-R-E-S-S. Take a little poetic license.
Makes a lot of sense to me. I never even noticed it. You must be watching something different than I am. A lot of people complain about that type of advertising.
Doesn't mean we're complaining. We're just complaining about the spelling. Mariano Duncan, the batter. Duncan, a base hit the first time up, scored the first run of the game. He's 1 for 2. Fly ball deep to right center. Back is Thompson near the wall, and it's against the wall. Duncan's going to try for 3. And he's safe at third with a triple. That's his first triple of the year, and the Phillies take the lead 3-2. Boy, he crushed that ball.
Well, Duncan's had 2 doubles in this series, and now he has a 3-base hit. And this ball hit hard, halfway up the wall at the 396 mark. And the Phillies come up with the run that puts them on top. No chance for Thompson. And Duncan coming up with his 5th hit in this series in 18 at-bats.
Seems to me somebody's got to be trailing that play. Chris Jones, the right fielder's got to be trailing the play. I'm not saying that he could have stopped Duncan, but he wasn't in the picture there. Ball caroming off the wall out there. You have to have outfielders trail the play.
There were 2 mistakes in that play. Pulsipher didn't back up the third baseman.
Yeah. Only one place for a pitcher to go, and really the only place. The ball's in left center. The left fielder backs up the play by the center fielder. In right center, it's the right fielder. 0-1 to Tom Marsh, and he hits this one deep down the right field line, but it's slicing foul. So 0-2 now to Tom Marsh, the left fielder. We didn't see Chris Jones in the picture, but he was trailing the play, we understand. Got to get a look at it. This is from left center field. He's trailing the play, but I guess the ball wasn't hit far enough from Thompson for Jones to be involved in the play.
McCarver was away from the right fielder, too.
Under the glove of Alfonso, and Marsh has a hit as Duncan scores. 4-2 Philadelphia.
Well, Marsh just brought up from the minor leagues, and he's been doing the Mets in. 2 home runs in yesterday's ball game. 3 runs driven in, and now he drives in a big run right here to put the Phillies up 4-2.
You know, we have seen so many Mets infielders over the course of the year diving for balls, and the ball scoots under their glove. Now, if you're going to dive for a ball like that, rarely do you get to your feet and make the play anyway. Seems to me that had Alfonso kept his feet, he's got a much better chance to make the play. Here's Charlie Hayes.
You know, you could understand that play with a runner at second because you want to keep the ball in the infield.
You're right.
With a run at third, it's not going to do you any good. He's going to score anyway.
Charlie Hayes with 2 hits on the night, and there goes Marsh. The throw by Stinnett's a bullet to get him. But the Phillies scored twice. It is 4-2 Philadelphia, and we're back after this from Nobody Beats the Wiz. McCarver and Ralph Kiner here at Shea Stadium. Phillies trying to sweep. The Mets obviously trying to prevent it. And the fastball is outside to Bobby Bonilla. Bonilla grounded to second his first time up. Change up, fouled away. 1-1 to Bonilla, batting .308 on the year. And this is the play we were talking about with Duncan on at third, Alfonso at third also.
And he makes a dive for the ball. Look where the ball passes. It passes between his glove on the inside and his body. He dove actually too far for that ball.
Yeah, it looks like he over-dived for the ball.
And the thing about it is he can't throw the runner out if he does get on the ground flat and can't get up in time to throw him out. If he stays on his feet, he has an outside chance.
2-1 pitch is outside to Bonilla. 3-1 to Bobby. June was not busting out all over for Bonilla. Hit hard up the middle, base hit. So Bonilla with a single to open up the 4th inning. Is at first with Jeff Kent coming up. Jeff homered his last at bat.
And Tim, another 3-1 pitch. That's a fastball for a base hit. So Mimbs getting away with a 4-2 lead here, but pitching behind all the hitters. He's giving the Mets a good shot. at getting to him.
Jeff Kent's 8th home run of the year is second to the opposite field, and the breaking ball is inside. One ball, no strikes to Jeff Kent. Jeff, about a month ago, loitering around that 200 mark in his last 120 at-bats. He has hit over 300 as we look at our National League scoreboard. The Rockies prevailing over San Diego. This one hit to right field, but Eisenreich is there to make the catch. One out. Atlanta losing, so if the Phillies win this game, they will go 5 games on top of the Atlanta Braves. And speaking of Atlanta, the Mets catch a charter to Atlanta after the game tonight for a 3-game series down at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Brett Saberhagen against Kent Merker tomorrow night. We will carry games on Saturday and Sunday afternoon as Kelly Stinnett steps up. And a fastball for a strike. Dave Malicki against John Smoltz on Saturday. And then 3-time Cy Young Award winner Greg Maddux against Pete Harnisch on Sunday. As we look at our Toyota American League scoreboard. White Sox losing again. Red Sox winning again.
Toronto, another club that has disappointed their fans.
Fastball on the inside corner. Kelly Stinnett with a single and a run scored his first time up. Ball and 2 strikes to Kelly. Here's Pete Harnisch, who will start against Greg Maddux on Sunday. Be on the air at 1 o'clock New York time. And the breaking ball, nice play by the catcher Lenny Webster. 2-2 to Stinnett. There goes Bonilla, grounded right side, and Duncan makes the play and throws out Stinnett. So with Bonilla running, Stinnett grounded out to Mariano Duncan. Kelly 1 for 2, and Tim Bogar, the batter, he grounded to third his first at bat. Mets on a hit and run the first time up. Got a run out of it. Stinnett was running when Bogar grounded to third. And Kelly came in on a single by Jose Vizcaíno. So Dallas Green hoping that the same thing happens here in the 4th inning with the Mets trailing 4-2. Well, Lenny Webster's made some fine plays on balls in the dirt behind the plate. Filling in for Darren Dalton. And it's 1-1. Perhaps the most respected guy on any team in the National League. Jim Fregosi says that when he's between the white lines, or outside of them, when you're a catcher, I guess, that he is his manager on the field. And nobody has more respect from his teammates in baseball, really, than Darren Dalton.
He has caught 43 of the first 51 games that the Phillies have played, so he's been a workhorse behind the plate.
A lot of guys try to assume the role as a leader, and they're just not cut out for it. Darren Dalton is a real leader in this ball club, or on this ball club. It's 3-1 now to Tim Bogart. Grounded hard. Charlie Hayes throws out Bogart. We said it. He's made only 3 errors all year, and that was in 1 game. 4-2 Phillies. We go to the 5th after this from American Express.
Well, the Phillies leading 4-2. It would have been 4-3 if it wasn't for Charlie Hayes. Hayes right here on Tim Bogart's hard smash down to the third base side. And Hayes makes a great play right here. And guns it to first base for the out that ended the inning. So the Mets did not get the runner in from second as Hayes turned him away.
When he had that 3-error game, and Charlie leads off the 5th inning here, he had the 3-error game in Philadelphia. Fastball on the corner, and some fans from the left field area came down with hats and were throwing hats on the field because Charlie Hayes had the hat trick for that game. Charlie had to laugh about that, he says. 0-2 now to Charlie Hayes. But think about it. That is the only game this year, and he's played every inning of every game that he has had an error.
That is amazing, and Bob Uecker was right. Philly fans would boo an Easter egg hunt.
High chopper toward third. Tough play. Alfonso safe at first is Hayes. Well, that's a 3rd straight hit for Charlie Hayes.
First baseman Gene Shaw.
Oh, Hayes had his 9-game hitting streak stopped last night. He's making up for it here tonight with his 3rd hit. Ball chopped up in the air just a little bit too high for Alfonso to make the play. Did all he could. He has to wait for it. Release was good. Not in time.
That'll bring up Gene Shaw, the first baseman. He doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. And he went too far, says Greg Bonet. Windy and cool here at Shea Stadium. Unusual June night. This one tapped foul. 0-2 to Gene Shaw.
It was a very short summer. This is almost like autumn weather.
High, ball 1. 1-2 now to Gene Shaw. Ground ball, left field base hit. That's hit number 10 for the Phillies off Bill Pulsipher.
The catcher, Lenny Webster.
And while we're at it, 2 on, nobody out here in the 5th. We'll take a look at the new Dodge quiz, which well-known umpire twice batted in the 300s as a teammate of Hall of Famers Ed Roush and Eparixi in the 1920s Reds. Bill Clem, one guy that comes to mind.
Yeah, but Bill didn't play Major League Ball. That's a tough question right there. Eddie Roush, a great outfielder in the Hall of Fame. Eparixi was a great pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds, left-hander.
Lenny Webster, the batter, and he takes a strike from Pulsipher.
Lon Warnke, who did not play for Cincinnati, was an outstanding pitcher and later on became an umpire, but he umpired in the 40s.
Well, we'll give you a clue. It's not a present-day umpire. 0-2 to Webster.
That's really a big clue.
Thanks a lot, huh?
As Casey would say, he's dead at the present time.
Pulsipher trying to work himself out of it. Tap to third. It could be 2. Alfonso to Bogart. So he's 2/3 of the way out of the hole. 2 outs.
Alfonso fills it near the bag at third. He goes that way rather than around the horn. And he picks up the double play. So a runner now at second base with 2 men out.
Saw the umpire at third, Charlie Williams, say fair ball. So who was that umpire that played with Epirixie and Ed Roush? As Jim Eisenreich steps up, Jim 1 for 2. He scored the second Philly run. Phillies lead it 4-2. We're in the 5th. And the breaking ball for a strike. There's the question. He's a well-known umpire. That's why I said Clem. I don't know any umpires back then.
Abe Pinelli.
Abe Pinelli. Like that. There weren't too many umpires back then that were well known.
That's right. Well, Babe Pinelli, that was the last game he ever umpired.
1-1 to Eisenreich. When was that? That
World Series game.
Oh, the World Series game. Okay.
From San Francisco. He was umpiring when I was playing.
Tell you the truth, that answer was up there so fast I didn't have a chance. You know, Evelyn Woods couldn't have read that.
Little speed reading.
Fly ball, left center. Thompson over, makes the catch. That one's an easy play for an umpire to call. Ryan Thompson on a sparkling play to end the 5th. Still 4-2 Phillies. We'll fire that back up there after this word from your Tri-State Toyota dealer. Over the Mets here in the bottom of the 5th. Back in to call it for you. Here's Ralph.
Okay, Tim, and for the Mets, the leadoff batter will be Jose Vizcaíno. On the mound, Michael Mimbs, and he throws a curveball for ball 1. Mimbs, a left-hander all the way, and we say that with some admiration, but he is a little strange too. We talked about Pulsipher walking in his own footprints as he crosses the line going to the pitcher's mound. Mimbs has had a little bit of a reputation along that line also, and he comes back and gets a strike call there. 2 balls and 1 strike. He was originally signed by the Dodgers and released by the LA Dodgers and signed by an independent club. And that pitch for ball 3. He played in the Northern League. And he played for the son of Bill Veeck, Michael Veeck. Michael Veeck had this to say about Mimbs. He said, he's a strange duck. Now, for Michael Veeck to say that, and that one called a strike, so it's 3-2. Veeck uses a pig to deliver balls to the plate umpire in his ball games in his home ballpark. But he said that Mimbs was a head case, and that's why the Dodgers let him go in 1993. This one popped up, and it will be in foul territory. Gene Schwal goes back to make the play.
Here's the answer to that new Dodge quiz we were talking about. The umpire that played with Ed Roush and Epirixie.
You saw it all that time, didn't you?
Yeah, right.
Now the batter, Bill Pulsipher, and he takes the first pitch for strike 1. Pulsipher, a hard smash to short, and was thrown out in a good play.
Guys are messing with us down in the control room. Dave Pinelli, who called the Don Larson game. And that was his last game.
Last game he ever umpired. And if Dale Mitchell, who was the last out of that ball game, called out on strikes and a questionable call, this one popped up. It'll be Charlie Hayes to try it. And 2 men away. If Dale Mitchell had been thinking, he would have known that on the last pitch of the game with a chance to see a no-hitter in the World Series, the only one ever pitched, he would have swung at that last pitch if it's called a strike by Babe Pinelli.
That was the last game he ever umpired behind the plate.
Right. And that was the end of his career at the end of that year.
Yeah, but behind the plate, he was on the bases after that. Right.
So 2 men away. The Mets trailing by 2, and Ryan Thompson the batter, and again he goes after the first pitch. 3 times now he's been up. 3 times he has swung at the first pitch. The last 2 times He swung at the first pitch. They were out of the strike zone. The first time it was in the strike zone, he singled. He's had 2 hits and 2 at-bats. And he takes that one. It was close for a ball. That's 1 ball and 1 strike. Thompson 2 for 2. He is 5 for 12 in this series against the Phillies. Another one way out of the strike zone. That's 1 and 2. Ryan Thompson on the disabled list at the early part of the year, went down to Norfolk and hit well down there, brought up to the Mets, and has hit well since coming back up. And he lines this one down the left field line for his 3rd hit of the ball game. He holds at first base as Marsh gets the ball in, and the Mets have a runner at first with Edgardo Alfonso coming up.
Good hitting by Thompson, poor pitching by Mimbs. Why throw him a strike there? I mean, he's shown that he's going to swing at anything out of the strike zone. If you want to come inside, why not come way in? That ball's a strike on the inside corner. And Ryan turns on it. 3 straight hits for Ryan Thompson tonight.
Alfonso in his 3rd at bat is 0 for 2. And that's ball 1. Alfonso lined into a double play and a hit and run play his first time up and flied out to right field. And a called strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Michael Mimbs, an identical twin. He has a brother that's pitching in minor league baseball.
Pitching in the Dodgers organization, Mark.
Thompson chased back at first. Last Twins to play in the major leagues. Fly ball out to deep right center field. It's way back. Alfonso is robbed of a base hit as Dave Gallagher hauls it in. Canseco Twins, the last to play in the major leagues. So at the end of 5, it's 4-2 Philadelphia. Now a word from your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. The Phillies leading as they bat in the top of the 6th inning. It'll be Kevin Stocker to lead it off. Stocker 0 for 2 out on a fine play by the 3rd baseman Alfonso his first time up. And this time he lines it to right field for a base hit. So the first pitch here in the 6th, a single to right field by Stocker. That's the 11th hit that has been given up by Bill Pulsipher. This copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by Sterling Doubleday Enterprises LP solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Sterling Doubleday Enterprises LP is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as charging admission for its showing, is likewise prohibited. And the first pitch, strike 1, as Michael Mimbs bat. He had doubled his last time up, has hit the ball hard twice, and is 1 for 2, but the Mets looking for the sacrifice. And it's bunted out foul, so it's a 2-strike count. Phillies have had at least 1 hit in every inning off of Bill Pulsipher, working here in the 6th. 2 strikes the count. Mimbs squares early and bunts it down the line. It's a fair ball, and the play to first base for the out. That ball, if it had rolled foul,
it is a foul ball. It came up and hit the pitcher, Michael Mimbs. I think it hit him while in fair territory as he's running. See, he's out of the box right there. And so it's he bunts it foul, so it's a strikeout. It doesn't matter.
Oh, he hit it twice.
Yeah, hit it twice. So it looks like he hit it about 7 times. Yeah, hit it with the bat. So with 2 strikes, obviously, that's a strikeout for Pulsipher.
And Stocker will have to go back to first base. So 1 away, and that'll bring up Dave Gallagher. Gallagher 0 for 2 with a walk. And some fine defensive plays in this series against the Mets, replacing Andy Van Slyke, who injured himself sliding headfirst into second base. Van Slyke acquired from the Baltimore Orioles. Gallagher takes for ball 1. Gallagher came into this game hitting .349.
I am surprised that the Phillies are hitting Pulsipher as well as they have been. He started out and has continued to throw very hard tonight. Possibly one reason is that every pitch is about the same speed. No change-ups and off-speed pitches, but he's throwing hard. And the Phillies have been hitting the ball hard.
11 base hits, and they lead by a score of 4-2. 2 of the runs, though, have been unearned against Pulsipher. Well, the defense has hurt him. And that pitch high, a fastball for ball 4. So Gallagher walks for the 2nd time. 5 in the 3rd innings. He's given up 11 hits. He has walked 2 with the walk to Gallagher. Struck out 3. Runners at first and second with 1 man out. And Mariano Duncan, the batter. Duncan 2 for 3. 2 runs scored. And a run batted in. Single and a triple. And the fastball fouled away. You are really correct in your analysis, Tim. He has been throwing his fastball and curveball very close to the same speed. And he has a change of pace, but they haven't used it.
You could tell by that last swing by Duncan. I mean, he almost left his feet fouling that ball back.
And Duncan hits a high fly ball to right field. Tagging up at second base is Stocker, and he'll go to third. The throw should go into second, and does. And now runners at first and third.
Here are the last 2 pitches. Now watch Duncan going up there the first time. Now this is the 3rd time he's faced Pulsipher. So Duncan, a real fastball hitter, and he loves the ball above the belt. That ball about at the belt, and he flies out to right field. But Duncan has had some very good swings at Pulsipher tonight. Upset he missed that last pitch.
2 men away. Tom Marsh, the batter. Marsh 1 for 3. That pitch called strike for strike 1. Marsh at .348, 2 home runs. They came last night. He's driven in 5, and he was just brought up from the minor leagues. Wild swing and a miss, strike 2.
That was a splitter right there. It appeared to be a splitter from Pulsipher. This is Marsh last night and tonight.
Went to the razor blade. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You usually go to the razor blade when you're in a slump. You want to cut your wrist, but he has been a hot batter, and he still shaves off the mustache and facial hair.
That's a little dramatic, I think.
What do you think about
Razor
it?
blade on the wrist? You do? I was never in any slump that I thought about that.
I like your definition of a slump, though, Tim. You got to come from somewhere to have a slump. You can't have a slump if you haven't hit well.
Yeah, I think that's what the Mets management has to figure out about several players on this club. Is it a slump, or are they overmatched at the big league level?
That one fouled off, so the count stays at 2-2. If you've been hitting .350 and you drop to .300, that's a slump. But if you're hitting .200 and you dropped at .198, that's not a slump.
Or if you continue to show that at big league pitching continues to get you out, well, you haven't really come from a zenith or an apex.
Line drive base hit. So Marsh does it again to the New York Mets. Driving in Stocker from third base, and it's a 5-2 ball game in favor of the Phils. And that'll bring up Charlie Hayes, who is 3 for 3.
Well, fat part of the plate with the breaking ball from Pulsipher. And Marsh, who had faced Pulsipher when Bill pitched with Norfolk in the International League. Marsh was the left fielder at Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Kevin Stocker scores the 5th run of the game. The Phillies up by 3.
Pulsipher pitched 2 shutouts for Norfolk in the International League and had 4 complete games. Charlie Hayes 3 for 3 in the game. All of his base hits have been singles. Runners at first and second, 2 men out. And the fastball swung on and missed. Hayes this month, 17 runs batted in. Reggie Sanders with 20, the only one better. That pitch high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hayes leads the club in runs batted in with 38. The all-time Philadelphia Philly leader in runs batted in for a season, Chuck Klein. He drove in 170 one year. That one catches the outside corner, 1-2. The Mets have their bullpen going. Jerry DiPoto throwing. Hayes at 308 for the year, 5 home runs, 38 runs batted in. He's had 6 hits in this 4-game series. 2-2. Runners at first and second. Gallagher, the runner, at second base. Marsh at first. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. So Hayes, after having 3 in a row, is out for the first time. The score at the end of 5.5 innings. The Phillies 5, the Mets 2. And here's a word from your Tri-State Toyota dealer. Phillies 5 runs on 12, 2 of the 5 runs unearned in this game. The Mets have made 2 errors. And Michael Mimbs starts off and gets a strike. That one a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Two balls, 1 strike. It'll be Jones, Bonilla, and Kent for the Mets as their first 3 batters in the 6th inning. The 2-1 pitch, ball 3, and Jones now with a count of 3 balls and 1 strike. Phillies with the best record in the National League. Playing awfully tough. A hard smash to third. Again, it's Charlie Hayes. The throw will get him easily. Another hard hit ball turned into an out.
He can pick it, can he? Well, Charlie Hayes can just flat pick it, as the players say. Gathers his momentum and throws out Chris Jones.
That'll bring up Bobby Bonilla. Bobby with a base hit and 2 at-bats. That's ball 1. Charlie Hayes was not offered a contract by the Colorado Rockies. They said they didn't have enough money to pay him, but if anybody has enough money, it would be Colorado with the way they've been drawing. Ground ball to the second base side. Duncan fields it, gets it to first base in time for the out. So Bobby 1 for 3, the second out in the 6th. And Bobby Phenia has been playing in left field, third base, and first base. 21 games in left field, 21 at first base, and I should say third base and 8 at first base. That's not easy to do. So Bobby back to the bench as Jeff Kent will give it a try. Kent with a home run in the second, 1 for 2 tonight. Mets getting their 2 runs in the bottom half of the second to tie the game. This one bounced to short, fielded by Stocker, and the Mets go in order. 3 ground balls, 3 men out. The score at the end is 6. Philadelphia 5, the New York Mets 2, and here's a word from Ninex. Philadelphia Phillies, top of the 7th inning, and back in for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver.
12 hits for Philadelphia, 7 for the Mets. Concessions appear to be going nicely. Folks still hungry. In this series, it's not that the Phillies have beaten the Mets 3 in a row. They're ahead by 3, but it's the ease with which they have appeared to handle New York. And remember, the Phillies have Dykstra out, Dave Hollins out, Greg Jeffries out. 3 of their big thumpers, and pitchers Tommy Green and Bobby Munoz, as Gene Shaw is the batter, and the fastball is inside, ball 1. To Shaw, who is 2 for 3, he has singled, doubled, and flied to center. Low, ball 2, 2-0. Bill Pulsipher has thrown 111 pitches, 70 of those strikes. But the Phillies have been hitting the ball very hard. They have 12 hits and 5 runs. Fly ball right field. Chris Jones there, 1 out here in the 7th.
The Phillies really are playing like they are going to be a winning ball club. They're playing with great confidence. They got off to that wonderful start. And that old thing that they call momentum has certainly been on their side. And to be able to play as well as they have played here in the last couple of weeks with all those good players on the DL shows they're a solid ball club.
Lenny Webster thought it was a fastball. He got the slider, 0-1, to the Phillies catcher, who's 0 for 3 tonight. First, you make your momentum. There's Lenny Dykstra right there. Momentum just doesn't come out of a bottle. It's not something you can purchase. It's not something that just happens. It's something that you create individually and as a team, and the Phillies have certainly done that. The Mets, on the other hand, have created their own momentum of backpedaling, and that's what they're doing in the National League East. They have lost 6 games in the standings over the last 8 days, winning only on Sunday. Three and 1 to Webster.
They have lost 5 games to the Phillies, and that's 5 games that they can't get back.
I've got to say that Mr. Met, now center field camera's picking up Mr. Met, the baseball back there. I've got to say that that's a distraction to a pitcher. I mean, what is Mr. Met who comes out at the bottom of the 7th inning? If I'm a pitcher and I'm looking into that baseball back there, I've got to be thinking, I think Mr. Met might just be trying to get on television. I have no other explanation for that. Webster walks, and here's Jim Eisenreich. He wanted to bunt. He pulls up. Jim Fregosi telling me before the game that Eisenreich is the best man on his team with whom to use the hit and run. So we'll see. 1-0 to Jim Eisenreich. Lined up the middle base hit. The second hit of the night for Eisenreich. Webster stops at second. And that'll bring up Kevin Stocker, the shortstop.
Well, the Phillies just pounded it out here. They have only had 1 inning where they have not had more than 2 hits. Should say 2 hits or more. They had 1 hit in the second, but they also had a walk in that inning.
Jerry DiPoto is back up at throwing. And remember, he was throwing in the 6th inning. And Greg Pavlik, the pitching coach, out to talk to Bill Pulsipher.
Shortstop Kevin Stocker.
5-2 Philadelphia. And the Phillies with 2 on here in the 7th inning. Only 1 out, and Kevin Stocker, who's 1 for 3 with a run scored, is the batter. Looks like a slider for a strike. 0-1 to Stocker. Mentioned Michael Mimbs, a twin. So is Kevin Stocker. He has a twin sister. Line to left field, base hit. Webster's going to score. Eisenreich stops at second. Stocker has his second hit. It's now 6-2 Philadelphia as they have pounded out 14 hits against Bill Pulsipher.
I would have to believe that's the first time in his career, including Little League ball, that any team has ever had 14 hits off of him in a ball game.
In 6 1/3 innings.
Coming to the major leagues is a very rude awakening.
Michael Mimbs, the pitcher, has 1 of those 14 hits. He's 1 for 3 with a run scored. He's bunting here. He bunts it down the first base line, and Kelly Stinnett barehanding it, throws to Bogar for the out. So there are 2 outs. The runners move up 90 feet. Eisenreich to third. Stocker to second. And Dave Gallagher, the center fielder, is the batter. There are the runners.
Center fielder Dave Gallagher.
And here comes Dallas Green to make the move, and Jerry DiPoto will be in the ball game. So the young left-hander is out of there. DiPoto is in. Another rough outing for Pulsipher, as he gave up 7 earned runs his last outing. He's given up 6 tonight, but only 4 runs have been earned. And this call to the bullpen is brought to you by Bell Atlantic, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Bill Pulsipher out of the ball game after working 6 2/3 innings, being charged with 6 runs. The runners on still will be his as Jerry DiPoto comes in the ball game. He's 0-3 with no saves. This will be his 20th ball game, and earned run average is 6.84. He's worked 26 1/3 innings, giving up 33 hits, striking out 23 and walking 10. Jerry DiPoto, the new pitcher for the New York Mets. Jerry worked in a game earlier in this series and worked 2 innings, giving up 3 runs on 4 hits while striking out 2. He worked a perfect 6th and 7th inning and then was bombed for 3 runs on 4 hits, but not involved in a decision his last time out.
So Jerry DiPoto will be pitching to Dave Gallagher. Ralph mentioned earlier that Andy Van Slyke is out, sliding into second base head first. So Dave Gallagher, who has played a terrific defensive game and is 0 for 2, but he's walked a couple of times on the evening, is the batter. Fastball inside corner, strike 1 to Dave Gallagher. Two outs, 2 on here in the 7th. 6-2 Philadelphia. High chopper, could be trouble. Alfonso will have to hurry. Got him. Good play by Edgardo Alfonso to get Gallagher, but the Phillies with another run lead at 6-2. Bottom of the 7th coming up after this from your Tri-State Ford dealer. 7th. The Phillies have scored early and often this evening. They have scored in 5 of the 7 innings, and they lead it 6-2. Single runs in the 1st and 2nd, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. The Mets scoring both of their runs in the second inning. Kelly Stinnett 1 for 3. Make that 1 for 2. And he takes a fastball from Michael Mimbs. That's upstairs. Lined up the middle and hit the bag. How about that? That's a one-base hit.
That's a real one-base hit. Your description of up the middle is perfectly right. Hit the bag,
Boing.
goes into center field, and the Mets get a base runner. They need 4 to tie.
And Tim Bogart, the batter. Didn't that happen in Yankee Stadium as Bogart takes a strike? Breaking ball. Happened at Yankee Stadium about 10 years ago or so. I think Willie Randolph was still playing second base. The ball hit the second base bag in a key situation, bounced to Randolph, and he threw the runner out. I forget the situation, but I remember the play as the count goes to 0-2 to Tim Bogart. Ground ball to third. Hayes to second. Duncan to first. Not in time. Ball was not hit hard enough for a double play. Bogart's at first with 1 out.
Another fine play by Charlie Hayes. Comes in, takes his chopper, throws from an off-balance position. Makes a good throw to the second baseman. A relay by Duncan just a little bit late.
Charlie Hayes has been all over the place tonight, plus he's 3 for 4. Jose Vizcaíno, the batter. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI. 6-2 Philadelphia.
5 assists and 3 putouts.
Grounder to short, could be 2. Stocker, Duncan, and back to Shaw, the first baseman. So Bill Pulsipher, a rough outing. He trails 6-2. He and the Mets on our Honda line score, and we'll return right after this message. Top of the 8th inning, 6-2 ball game. The Phillies on top. 14 hits off of Bill Pulsipher. And Bill Spires is in the game at second base. So Bill Spires in there for Jeff Kent. We do not know why Jeff Kent was taken out of the game, but we'll try to find that out as soon as we can.
Earlier in the ball game, after he had batted, he was sort of limping out toward the second base position, so there might be a possibility as a strain of a muscle.
Sometimes the swing is so violent, it's like the bottom of a golf swing. Those professional golfers are teeing off. Boy, you can see the violence in that swing when they come through the ball, and that is similar to a baseball swing. Mariano Duncan is 2 for 4 on the evening, and he lines one to right field off Jerry DiPoto. Falling down is Chris Jones, but from his seat of his pants throws to second.
Well, I heard of pilots flying by the seat of their pants, but never right fielders. Another hard-hit ball in this ball game as
Jones in the driver's seat right here. Look at that. All's well that bends well. Here's Tom Marsh, who is 2 for 4. And he hits one deep to center field. Back is Thompson, over his head, off the wall. Boa's going to try to score. Duncan the throw home, not in time. And it's by Stinnett. Duncan scores, and Tom Marsh has a, I would assume, a triple. Brian Thompson didn't pick the ball up right away. And he's looking for help. That's the wrong place to look for help, to left and right.
This ball hits straight away center field. Thompson can't get back to it.
Third baseman Charlie Hayes.
Bounces off the top of the fence. Thompson has to turn around, find the ball, and get it back in.
He didn't have a good jump on that ball. He didn't pick the ball up right away for whatever reason. Here's Charlie Hayes, 7-2 Phillies. Infield in. Tap toward the right side, and alertly Spires makes the play and touches first. How many times do you see that? A 4 unassisted at first base.
And all the time he was fielding the ball, he was looking to see if the runner from third was breaking for home.
First baseman Gene
Bogart
Shaw.
can't get to it. No other choice. The pitcher did not cover at first base. That's another mental mistake as the pitcher became a spectator. So Spires had to make the play all by himself.
I think he makes it by himself anyway. I mean, he was going, because he was in, he was going toward first, and I don't think DiPoto would ever have been involved. Gene Shaw, the batter, he's 2 for 4 on the night, a double and a single. Everybody in the Phillies lineup, with the exception of Dave Gallagher and Lenny Webster, has at least 1 hit. Minnie with 2. Duncan has 3. Marsh with 2. Hayes with 3. Shaw with 2. Stocker with 2. Eisenreich with 2. So 6 of the 9 regulars have at least 2 hits. 2-0 to Gene Shaw, the first baseman, as we take a look at our National League scoreboard.
Everybody in the starting lineup has been on base.
Grounded, second base, trying to score, and scoring is Marsh. Or you are seeing the New York Mets
The catcher,
in
Lenny
every
Webster.
category in this series. 8-2 Philadelphia.
Good play here by Spires to come up with the ball and get the out, but no chance for a play at home. And the Phillies now have 8 runs on 16 hits in this game.
Contact play, and Marsh, I think even if that ball been hit to Spires at second, Marsh scores. Phillies doing a lot of things right, I'll tell you. Lenny Webster fouls it back, 0-1. 8-2 Philadelphia, 16 hits. The Mets have 8. Line drive, and it's foul. 0-2 to Lenny Webster. .28 runs and 48 hits this series. Average of 7 runs a game, and almost all the games have gone about the same. 8-2 Philadelphia. We're back after this from Sunoco. Frustration abounding in the Mets dugout. Jerry DiPoto very upset. It has been a frustrating year thus far for New York. Tell you, I was disturbed with some of the comments from the players over the last week, Ralph, about saying, Jerry DiPoto wasn't one of them. There, you know, just some articles in the paper. I forget exactly what the quotes were, but a couple of the Mets were referring to themselves and to the team as a young team. Now, the Mets have young players on their team, but they are 8th in the National League as far as age is concerned. The average age of the New York Mets is 28.5. The youngest team in the National League, the Montreal Expos, they're 27.3 years old. The oldest team, interestingly, St. Louis Cardinals, 30.2 years old. That, of course, is average, and you could average a guy like Brett Butler, who's 38, with Edgardo Alfonso. And that's what you do. You kind of put them all in the blend. Jeff Barry taps one down third, and it's going to roll. What else? Foul.
Well, what is the inference? A young team. That really doesn't mean anything, because the biggest mistake you can make is you say a player is a young player and he'll get better. It doesn't mean he'll get better. Young players don't get better. Some do, but most of them don't. So is young an excuse for what's taking place for the start of this year for the Mets?
That's kind of what I was alluding to, is that some of the quotes were, well, we're a young team. I mean, you can only be young for so many years. I mean, how many years you going to be young?
Chronologically, I guess you had to cut it off somewhere, but as a baseball player, young would be maybe your first 2 years in the major leagues.
And depending, yeah, and obviously, you know, as I said, the Mets have young players. Edgardo Alfonso's 21, Bill Pulsipher's 22, Rico Brogna and Jeff Kenner 26. Nothing in 2 now to Jeff Barry, but I think that's a cop-out when you talk about your team as young and you're going to make mistakes. I mean, this ball club is old enough not to make the types of mistakes they've made throughout the year.
Well, Alfonso is young. He doesn't make any mistakes. He plays the game very well.
Doesn't make too many, does he?
No, he knows how to play.
But you can go right through the lineup, and not only Bobby Bonilla and Brett Butler, but right through the lineup, and the mistakes have been contagious on this club. And a lot of ball games have been lost because of base running mistakes, defensive mistakes, not only mistakes due to ability, but mistakes due to really inexcusability.
And Tim,
here's Ryan Thompson, nothing in 1 to Thompson.
And again, he swings at the first pitch. So that stat you had is probably very true. 4 times in this game he has swung at the first pitch.
It's not probably true. It's exactly true. 23 straight times did Thompson swing at the first or second pitch. And tonight he swung at the first pitch 4 times, but he's 3 for 3. 3 of the 8 Met hits. Fly ball right field. Eisenreich over near the line, and for the first time tonight, Thompson's retired. There are 2 outs here in the 8th, and Edgardo Alfonso coming up.
When you're a leadoff batter, the premise of a leadoff batter is not to swing at the first pitch. You're supposed to go up there and make the pitcher work and hopefully get on base with either a base hit or a walk.
And a reminder to stay tuned to News 9 tonight with Sean Mooney and Brenda Blackman. They're on deck right now. I guess you could say they're in the hold right now. Alfonso grounds to short, and Stocker throws him out. Nice play by Gene Shaw as the Mets go in order for the second time in this game. We go to the 8th. The Phillies on top 8-2. We'll be back after this from Bud Light.
Philadelphia 8-2, and we're going now to the top of the 9th inning. The Phillies coming up, and here's our nobody beats a whiz game summary. Phillies at least 1 run in 6 of the 8 innings, at least 2 hits in every inning but the second. 19-8 road record, the best in the National League. And the Mets 1-17 record at Shea. I should say 11-17, 8-6 mark on the homestand.
And Pete Walker, the new pitcher for the Mets, is Jim Eisenreich. Leads it off here in the top of the 9th inning. Eisenreich 2 for 4. He has scored a run. 8-2 Philadelphia. And a strike from Pete Walker, 1-1 to Eisenreich. Mets head to Atlanta. The Phillies head to St. Louis, and an excuse-me dumper to left field. Eisenreich with a big turn. Bonilla made an error on a similar play in the second inning. So Eisenreich 3 for 5. That last one shows you how the Phillies are going. They are a red-hot ball club.
Yeah, that sort of wraps it all up right there.
Yep.
Excuse me swing. He didn't want to hit the ball, and he drops it in for a base hit.
Funny how the harder you work, the luckier you get. Kevin Stocker batting from the left side. He's 2 for 4 on the evening, an RBI and a run scored. Fly ball left field. Drifting back is Bonilla to make the catch. 1 out here in the 9th inning, and a throw back to first base. Eisenreich beats it barely.
Walker with a record of no wins, no losses, and no saves. He is appearing in his 7th game. They've all been in relief. Brought up from Norfolk. He's worked 7 in the 3rd innings, given up 10 hits, one of them a home run. And now the 3rd pitcher used by Dallas Green.
And if you told Michael Mimbs that he would be the hitter in the 9th inning this afternoon, he'd say, I'll take it. Starting pitchers love to hit in the 9th. Regardless of the score. Doesn't matter. They'll say, I'll take my chances.
How many starting pitchers in today's baseball bat 5 times in a game?
Yeah, if you told him it was the 5th time up, he'd say, I'll take it over and over and over again, because you know he's going to have a big lead. 0-2 to Mimbs. 1 out, 1 on. 8-2 Philadelphia. And Pete Walker gets his first strikeout of the ball game, and 2 outs, and Dave Gallagher, the center fielder, coming up.
Well, this is anything but a perfect game, but on this date, back in 1947, Ewell Blackwell lost a no-hitter with 1 out in the 9th.
Check this out. The Phillies have 3 pitchers that are rookies, or 2 that are rookies that are in the top 5. And Dave Malicki with the Mets also with 4 wins. So that's Tyler Green, not Tommy Green. Michael Mimbs will win his 6th tonight, unless the Phillies allow the Mets to score at least 6 in their half of the 9th. It's 1-1 to Dave Gallagher. Outside, ball 2, 2-1 to Dave.
The reason why I bring up that Blackwell almost a no-hitter against the Brooklyn Dodgers on this date in 47. He was working on his 2nd consecutive no-hitter. And Eddie Stanky broke it up with a base hit between his legs, or he would have tied Johnny Vandermeer's record of 2 consecutive no-hitters.
Between Blackwell's legs.
Yeah, between Blackwell's legs, not his. Blackwell, a devastating pitcher, the toughest right-hand pitcher I ever hit against.
Dave Gallagher joins the hit parade. That's hit number 18 for Philadelphia tonight. They have had hits in every inning, and only the 2nd inning have they had less than 2.
When you average 18, when you have 18 hits in a ball game, you've averaged 2 hits an inning, and that's unbelievable. I've had 1 inning when they had 3 hits and 1 inning when they had 1.
Mariano Duncan, the batter. Slider, swing and a miss, 0-1 to Duncan, who is 3 for 5 on the night. He has scored 3 runs, an RBI, 2 singles, and a triple. Inside, ball 1, 1-1. Duncan, a late signee with the Phillies in spring training. As a matter of fact, he was in that internment camp down in Homestead, Florida.
That's a good name for it.
For sake of a better word. Where the Players Association sponsored the would-be free agents. About 200 of them drifted in and out after the strike. Kind of a no man's land down there, and a lot of guys didn't know where they would be playing this year after that messy 8-month strike. Major League Baseball, and everybody in agreement that baseball needs an agreement. Ground ball towards second. Spires drops the ball, the 3rd error of the night. by the Mets. I would imagine that'll be an error. We'll see how it's scored.
He had to play at second base if he
right.
comes up with it.
Yep.
Left fielder Tom.
Well, it's being scored a hit. That's fortunate for Duncan and for Spires, I guess.
He's over there to backhand this play. He's got a force play at second. That's really a play you got to make at second base.
Ralph, you bring up an interesting point as the bases are loaded with 2 outs and Tom Marsh the batter. Because had nobody been on first then you could understand it being scored a base hit. Because now you've got to stop the ball, catch the ball, and throw to first. But since the runner was on and your force is at second, it should have been an error. 0-2 to Marsh. Ground ball towards second. Bill will have another shot, and he makes this play. Well, I guess you could say the Phillies are aptly named because they have filled this ballpark with line drives tonight. 19 hits. They lead it 8-2. We're back after this from Molson Ice. 8-2 Philadelphia. Philly going for the sweep. They head to St. Louis. The Mets head to Atlanta after the game. Mets with a 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves. Will be on the air at 7 o'clock on Saturday night, 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and great pitching matchups in that series down in Atlanta. Brett Saberhagen goes against Ken Merker tomorrow night. Dave Malicki against John Smoltz on Saturday. Then Pete Harnisch against Greg Maddux. Big difference between Mike and Greg Maddux.
Yes, there is.
Greg Maddux and Pete Harnisch on Sunday afternoon, and it's 0-2 to Chris Jones leading off the 9th inning. Breaking ball is low, a ball and 2 strikes to Jones. Way outside, 2-2 to Chris. Low, ball 3. So a full count to Chris Jones. Mets scored their 2 runs in the 2nd inning, and the Phillies have spread them out. Ground ball towards second. Duncan to Shaw. 1 out here in the 9th. And Mets Baseball 95 has been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. By Bell Atlantic, the Yellow Pages, 9 out of 10 people use the genuine Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages. By your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Bobby Bonilla bats. That's trailing by 6, 9th inning, 1 out. And Bobby fouls it back. Bonilla 1 for 3 on the night. Outside, ball 1, 1-1. Almost a year ago. Ball and 2 strikes to Bonilla. Low, ball 2, 2-2. Breaking ball, so Bonilla stays alive. Mets have seen the Phillies score 28 runs on 50 hits the last 4 days. They will be glad to see the Phillies get out of town. to left, so Bonilla has his second hit. Oh, we mentioned our nice friends at Budweiser, Bell Atlantic, Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. This game also brought to you by the new Sunoco MasterCard that can earn you free Sunoco gasoline. And by Coca-Cola. Always in the game, always Coca-Cola. Bill Spires the batter. Spires coming into the game for Jeff Kent in the 8th inning. And Bill's first at bat of the night. And he takes ball 1 from Mike Mimbs. Grounded, base hit inside the bag at first. Bonilla will stop at third base. Bill Spires has his first extra base hit of the year. Make that his second, as he also tripled earlier in the year. So a double for Spires.
Pulls it right down the right field line. A clean base hit, and the Mets now with runners in scoring position at second and third for Kelly Stinnett.
Jim Fregosi has already been on the horn. He has called the bullpen, and Phillies with bullpen activity as Kelly Stinnett checks in. Kelly 2 for 3 on the night. Michael Mimbs with 1 complete game on the year, trying to make it 2, and a swing and a miss at the changeup from Mimbs. Mike Williams is the right-hander in the Phillies bullpen. Norm Charlton, the left-hander. And the breaking ball is high. Ball 1. 1-1 to Kelly Stinnett. Phillies on top 8-2. We're in the 9th.
Kelly has hit a home run off of Mimbs. That was in the game that Mimbs faced the Mets in Philadelphia.
Back on the 21st of May. Ball and 2 strikes to Stinnett.
In that game, Mimbs went 6 innings.
Tailing fastball gets Stinnett. Third strikeout for Mimbs, and Tim Bogar the batter.
After Mimbs won that game against the Mets on the 21st, he came back in his next start and pitched his only major league shutout, a 2-0 win over the Padres. In that game, he allowed 2 hits. That was his first complete game and first shutout.
Ground ball to short. That should do it. As Stocker throws out Bogar. Phillies have got to be thinking, we hope we can keep this going, and the Mets are thinking, when is it going to end? They have lost 4 in a row, 6 of their last 7. And Jim Fregosi's crew with the best record in the National League at 35-17. And with Atlanta losing tonight, the Phillies are now 5 games in front of Atlanta and 8.5 in front of Montreal. Ralph and I will be right back with a Budweiser Star of the Game after this from your local Dodge dealer. Pounding the Mets in Game 4 for the sweep, 19 hits, and pretty easy for our star of the game tonight. He was everywhere defensively and 3 hits on top of that.
Charlie Hayes, our Budweiser Star of the Game, 5 assists, 2 putouts, 3 for 5, a run batted in. So Charlie Hayes, our Budweiser Player of the Game. Be with us again Saturday night at 7 o'clock when the Mets visit the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta, Georgia. Closed captioning of tonight's game has been sponsored by your Tri-State Toyota dealer. This has been a presentation of WWOR TV.